Go.
And it's episode 19, part one. That's Steve, I'm Al, and we have, as always, but we have Thundercloud sub, which, you know, it's kind of like it sounds. It's California club sandwiches with chips and whatnot. It's good food, but it's nothing.
It's an Austin steak.
It's an Austin
How many years?
30 or 40, something like that.
That's the 80s or 70s.
Yeah.
It's a long time, before I ever got here.
Right, ditto. So item number one is kind of like the big one in the room as far as I'm concerned. And we talked about it before. It's funny how these things don't really go away. Well, it's funny in the not ha-ha way. The shutdown. To the best of our knowledge, and we just talked about this point, to the best of our knowledge, we could be wrong, we don't work for the government, we don't work for the newspapers, whatever. Mike Johnson supposedly has told the Republicans not to come in next week. And because of that, if that is true, supposedly it will kill SNAP benefits for November, if that's true. So that's more than kind of a huge deal because, you know, people's ability to eat, on top of which, noticed I watched a couple of videos that explain that if you have this huge group of people who aren't going to be able to spend money at the grocery stores, guess what the grocery stores are going to do? They're going to raise their prices. So it's going to, the trickle, I won't call it a trickle down, the trickle on effect is going to hit everybody if this actually happens. And it looks like at this time, that's what we're dealing with. The other piece, of course, is healthcare, which if things don't get resolved, a lot of people are going to see huge spikes in their healthcare premiums, starting with people on the Affordable Care program, but then trickling again over to the rest of us, because if they're paying more, then the rest of us end up paying at least a little bit more as well. So,
yeah, so, you know, we talked about this last week, and as Al said, you know, it's the same issue. The two main issues that I think are stalling this whole process are the, you know, the food stamp issue and the healthcare issue. And this is where the Democrats have put their foot down. However, what the Republicans once again are trying to do is make this seem like this is the Democrats' fault for not trying to come to some kind of negotiation, when in fact the Democrats are literally physically sitting in their seats going, where are you? And they're not showing up. But they're trying to frame it as if Democrats are causing the problem.
Which makes no sense, because no matter, even if hypothetically you said, oh, the Democrats are completely in the wrong, well, the only way to negotiate with them is to show up. They're not showing up.
They're not showing up to say, okay, what can we do about this? So once again, they're being disingenuous at best. If not, they're just flat out liars, and they're just hypocritical, cruel, vindictive. I don't even have adjectives for these people anymore. They're so ridiculous. I mean, all these conversations have jumped the shark for so long. I said this last week. It's just so infuriating when you just sit there and watch them lie. And what's more infuriating is that the vast majority of these people, a good portion of them at least, are rural white people that are in poverty that get these food stamps, and the vast majority of those people voted for Trump. They literally once again voted against themselves out of fear and hatred and belief in these lies and all this crap that they hear. And they don't even understand what socialism is, because they live and thrive off socialism. Almost all these states that receive the vast majority of benefits outside of inner cities, you know, but it is the vast majority, are southern states and rural areas. That is where all social welfare goes to, outside of billionaires. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the vast majority goes to billionaires of social welfare.
But not coming
the small fraction that goes to citizens are poor citizens in southern states. You can look at it across the board. All those states take far more than they give. It's the states that they're attacking, like California, Massachusetts, they give, like, I don't know how much more. Look it up yourself. Well, far more than they give to the poor states who vote against themselves and against those states, and then send in armies to attack these states because they say there's crime, when in fact the crime is much higher in these rural states in these rural areas. If you look per capita, it's far greater crime, far greater poverty. So once again, it's this upside down world we're living in. These people have been brainwashed so severely. They are so indoctrinated, so much in a trauma bond, and so incapable of even self-actualization or even like self-awareness at any level whatsoever. And people have just reached this level that I've been at for a long time, and I'm watching it across the board on TikTok and other platforms where they're losing their minds. Like, why are we living in this upside down reality where there's certain individuals in this country and then within the world who are so lost, they've been so programmed and so their minds have been captivated and colonized by psychopaths. And this has been, and I've said this, thousands of years. There's a small segment of society for thousands of years of psychopaths who became emperors and, Kublai Khan and all these people it's just not Western imperialism. It's not just Western colonization. You can take this way back into any society anywhere, and it's been a select few individuals who are psychopaths, who have no empathy and don't mind conquering other people for their benefit. We don't have to live like that anymore. But this is narrowed back down to where we're at. This is just a prime example of that. Not wanting to give people some food because they're cruel, vicious people.
Well, there's this myth that they're living high on the hog and just sitting around doing nothing. Well, first of all, yes, there are some people who receive benefits and are basically doing nothing and maybe shouldn't be getting the benefits. Do they not exist at all? No, they do. But the vast majority, the kids, okay, we're not going to tell kids that they need to be getting a 9 to 5 hour week, or they're retired people, or they are people who are working over 40 hours a week already and they just aren't making enough to be able to literally feed themselves and their families. I mean,
look, and that's the vast majority.
Yeah.
So let's just take this small segment that don't. Yes, they deserve it too. I mean, because they're human fucking beings.
Right.
And you have to ask yourself, why are they in this position? Is it the default of humans to not want to have some kind of sense of pride in themselves, like some sense of like belonging? This is what it all boils down to. Anybody who is withdrawn to that extent there's nothing internal that they were born inflicted with. This is society has done this to them to where they just don't care anymore about themselves or anything else. And that goes across the board with these nihilists on the far right and everything else. This is what society's done to them. Or, these certain individuals, small fraction of individuals who have completely disengaged from trying to find a job or do anything. And they're just living off, systems.
And that's not even counting things like the way that, I think it was just last week that Bezos announced, and this is what announced that over 600,000 jobs from Amazon were going to be lost due to AI. But what I was going to ask you that I wasn't sure about is if he was talking about in the short term, like next year or two, or over like maybe a 5 to 10 year period.
Yeah, I don't know, but This is a whole different subject.
Okay,
but I think, let's just try to tie it back up and wrap this up. So we can tie this all back up to why would certain individuals, we kind of went off on something, but it all kind of ties in with this whole idea of why people are voting for this and why they're believing these liars and these psychopaths, and why there would be even a fraction of society who are, taking advantage. I don't even want to use that word. Who are doing it without making an effort to really, do something within the system, whatever that means, and I think the approach should then be engage with these people and say, what has made you want to be like? Like, there needs to be some help for these people. And I'm not saying they need to join the capitalist system and be a cogs in the machinery of capitalism. But where can they get community? Where can they get belonging? Where can they feel like they mean something in life, and just have some some level of optimism in their life, so that they do want to engage and be a part of living and be a part of life. And that's the real question. Not they're just a bunch of lazy bums and they don't want to work. Why? Why is that? Nobody's born that way, And even if there are some people that are bored of it, go ahead.
So what?
Sit there and do nothing. Like, how's that hurting you? How's that hurting you? Like, really? This isn't like we're living in, like, the times where, hey, look, if you don't go out in the field and pick your fair share of food, we're all going to die.
Well, to put it in a numerical whatever, right. Somebody was saying that if you have like a job where you're making, say, around 75 grand a year, the portion of your tax dollars that goes to like SNAP benefits and stuff is like $36 per year. Right. But the portion of your tax dollars that's going to people like Musk is like 300 or more.
Yeah, so
come on.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
It's even an issue. Look, if you're making $75,000 a year and you have a family, you need to be on SNAP.
Probably, yeah.
If you live in Austin, like if you have a family of two, you need 2 cars. And your family makes $75,000 a year. You need food stamps.
Well, actually, that is about where we are, and we almost do. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you fucking go. So come on, man. Yeah. You got to make double that to fucking survive, and then you're just surviving. So,
well, you can survive until something happens, and then you're fucked.
Then you're fucked.
I mean, and all it takes is one. Oops, that happened to the car. That happened to the house. That happened to your healthcare. Whatever. Boom, and then from there on, you're in trouble.
Right. So, all right. So let's just wrap this up.
Sure.
I already said it. Once again, these cruel, vindictive, racist, bigoted. And this is what it all comes down to in a lot of cases, because the way they're able to sell this to poor white folks is racism. Fools have duped a bunch of people that are not self-aware enough to know that they're voting against themselves to vote for this shit. And they're going to shut everything down and take away people's food stamps, and everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket.